we moved there, initially it was all good. You earn in dollars, you travel, everything's so accessible, everything is easy and all. And by the time she moved to first grade, there was a drastic change in her, and I think that actually hit me a lot. I'm like, okay, this is it. So there were three places which we were considering, and the north was not there, obviously, because of the heat issues, and the I think the Delhi NCR is also for pollution and all other challenges. It is because when you are working for very good amount of years in US and with a good background, then you are able to secure a job in India these days. Yeah, I think that all things is possible only when you are in India, and because India is growing. India is a totally different country within 10 years. When I left and when I moved back, it's totally different in terms of technology, in terms of
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Desi Return. Today, we have Miss Pratibha on our show. Miss Pratibha went to US in 2014, and after working for close to a decade, they have decided to move back to Hyderabad. It's been close to 6 months, and I'm really looking forward to the discussion in what made them to move, how was their life in US, and how is the transition going so far, and how they have planned the move, and so on. With that, welcome Miss Pratibha to the show.
Hi, Avnash. Thank you for having me, and I really appreciate whatever efforts you guys are doing on this channel, so that people who are NRIs and who are still in the process of moving or going from here to US, they have all the information ready to utilize. So it's really great work being done by you guys.
Great. Yeah, thanks a lot for joining us. So let's start a bit about your background, your education, what were you doing in India before making the decision to, and why going abroad?
Yeah, so before like moving to US, I was in India and I was working 5 years. I did my MBA from Pune, and I was like quite settled in India for like 4 5 years, and I was in Delhi NCR, and we met, and when he was already working in US, so it was already decided that okay, I have to move to US after getting married.
Right. Got it.
Yeah.
So it's the marriage that brought you to US. So how was the
Yes,
life
yes.
in US, and where did you go? How did you enjoy? And especially for someone working in India, going and being on like H4 dependent visa, how things were, and maybe you can talk a little bit about the life in US.
Yeah, so the moment I landed in US, before that, obviously, I said I was a financially independent woman. I had my own life. So moving to US was a little not good for me, especially initially. I know the way we think US is like all, a lot of opportunities, lot of, things to do and all. But when I landed, I felt like I have to be completely confined in four walls because I was not able to drive. I had to get my driving license, and since I was on dependent visa, I didn't know that I will not be able to work. So we were initially little reluctant, and my even husband was very supportive. He said that okay, let's move back and maybe we can come on L1 visa. So I mean, he can come on L1, so I can be on L2 and I can work. But I thought it will be too long process, so he said okay, let's do one thing. We'll explore studies and also. And I was in a non-technical background. As I said, I'm in HR, and the most people there are going for a technical field there. So there's a lot of opportunity for technical people, but non-technical people, it's always a challenge. So I'm like, okay, let's see whatever happens. So I enrolled myself in UC Santa Cruz and I started studying, and I got 1 year of OPT. So I would consider myself very fortunate that during that 1 year of 1 year of OPT, when I was even working, there's this new law came which was that you are allowed to work on H4 EAD.
Yeah.
And if you have I-140 approved, in which my husband did, and then fortunately the moment my OPT got over, I was moved to H4 EAD, and I was started continued with my working. So yeah, it was all going well afterwards. Once I got my EAD and everything, so that challenge has been resolved. So yeah.
Got it. So you mentioned, I think you did study in the university there, right? Was it in a technology field or in a non-technical? I think you mentioned on the HR. So was it expanding on it? Just curious on that part and the reason for that. And, yeah, if you're open to share that.
Yeah, so I was told by a lot of people that I should do technical stuff, and a lot of people do that. I have seen people just leaving their, the background and started studying on different field. But I was very passionate about HR, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna still stick to my, human resource field, and I will continue my education in that field only, no matter what kind of job and whatever I will get. And there was the chances that if you are an if you want H1B sponsorship, the technical people get it very easily, but non-technical people no. So
Got
I'm like, okay, whatever it is, but I'm not going to change my field. So I studied in HR only.
Got it. So congratulations on able to secure a position in the field that you're passionate about, and the laws made it easy in terms of able to work and be independent and so on. So sounds like I think you have a good life, and things are going smoothly. So why the thought of India occurred to you, and when did it occur, and why the thought of moving back to India?
Yeah, so even when we were dating and when we decided to get married, it was there in both of us mind that we're never going to settle there. We have to come back. So first thing that was there, and second thing was, we when we moved there, initially it was all good. You earn in dollars, you travel, everything's so accessible, everything is easy and all. But eventually, I think what made me move is like once my daughter was born, and I really felt that that gap, that vacuum when you are in India versus you are in US. So I felt that when you are in India, you raised up with you have neighbors coming to your house, your parents, your relatives, everybody is nearby, and you feel you don't feel like, as they said, that you need a village to raise a child. And I think my village was gone. I was the only one who was raising her. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, it's like it was too I would say it was my fortunately my daughter was very nice. She was very well behaved child, so it never got a problem. But I don't know, and within me I was feeling that this is not the place I would like to raise my kids. I would rather like to raise them in India. Maybe in future if they want to come back here, that's a different thing, like we did. But I wanted to give her the Indian background, Indian education, Indian cultural roots, and all those things. So yeah.
Got it. So, if you're okay, like when was your daughter born, and the timing of the move, and planning for the move and so on. So just to help out a little bit in terms of how you went through that process.
So yeah, so when she was like, I think she was in second grade or first grade. So we decided, now we have to move to India. So we started finding her schools. I also talked to my company that, if they can allow me to work in India. And fortunately, they had the opening, and they decided that, yeah, I can be. But I had to wait for some time. My husband was a company in which their offices was not in India. So he had to, like he said, he will come once he will come back, he has to find a job, and within 1 and 2 months he got the job also. So yeah, everything went out smoothly. Everybody was concerned about my daughter, like, but if she will get the big change for her. But she was very excited, and the schools and everybody was very cooperative, and kids were really friendly with her, and she's enjoying a lot here in India.
Okay, so that's great. So let's talk about a little bit, right? I think when you moved in 2024, your daughter was in the second grade, first grade, second grade. So it was almost like a 6 years of planning. Like, when the daughter was born, that's when you solidified the idea that, we need to move back to India.
So it was back like once my daughter was born. I mean, yeah, it's not like that the same moment I'm like, okay, let's
Yeah.
go back. But yeah, it was there. I proposed this idea to my husband that, I think it's not a good place to be in, right? First of all, as I said, Indian roots and culture. I was in Bay Area. So Bay Area is very, very Indianized. You celebrate all the festivals, everything is there. Even I had a Indian cook coming to my house. I had Indian nanny, everything. So that way it was going smooth, but somewhere you over the years you feel like that no, this is not. And then we like 5 years were completed, so I'm like, okay, 7 like 7 years are like. And then I think the second thing which actually made me to decide is that the COVID part. When COVID hit, I'm like, okay, this is it, no way I want to be in this country, because how do you feel like everybody is around their family, and that time, they really need your parents, or also you need your, so that time I realized that okay, it would be good if I will live at least nearby. So I told my husband, and he started looking for jobs in Singapore and Dubai. But again, I thought, there will again be visa issues and visa challenges, and that will be another challenging 5 to 10 years. So let's move to India. It's better, and there we will have unlimited support from family. We will have obviously, India is our own country, no visa issues, nothing. And even if we have to start something of our own, like own company or own startup or something, we can do that. Those things will everywhere, somewhere outside of India will gonna be a challenge. So that way he was like okay, and he was like okay, let's decide on that part, and something like happened. And then 2023, I'm like okay, that's it. So 2024 we were like okay, let's move. And we found a good school for her, and we enrolled her, and yeah, she just everything moved very fast.
Got it. So I think you kind of indicating that a little bit, maybe just trying to understand that if you're okay, is even though you have had the idea and it's something brewing in the mind, what is the trigger point that made like, yes, 2024 is the time we have to move? Is there certain milestones that you're trying to hit? Like I think maybe on a financial side or on a visa side, or maybe some corpus fund, or maybe from a career side, or maybe before the kid grow up. Again, is there something that
Yeah,
was
yeah, I
waiting
think it
for?
was that kid growing up, because by the time you're in kindergarten and all, you not affect that much. So she used to speak, I will tell you, like she used to speak Hindi with me, and by the time she moved to first grade, there was a drastic change in her. And I think that actually hit me a lot. I'm like, okay, this is it. Now I have to, because I was like, if I will stay more than this time here, she's gonna be completely American, which I don't want at all. So I'm like, okay, no, that's the thing, that we have to just move back. And I think financially also I was kind of there was a lot of layoff going on. There was not a security of job. Even I was, so that time I was working with two companies. One was full time and one was part time. So I knew that this full time job is gonna have to leave, and I will have to sustain on part time. So I'm like, okay, let it be work for 1 or 2 years there. Then I feel like okay, I've got stable career growth, then I can actually move back also.
Got it. So sounds like I think when you are deciding to move back to India, so how did you go about choosing the place where you want to? So did you decide to go back to Delhi or other place? Like how did you select where you wanted to move to?
Yeah, so for that part, actually, there were three places which we were considering, and the north was not there, obviously, because of the heat issues, and I think the Delhi NCR is also for pollution and all other challenges. Although we both are from north, so we were like, no, let's go to south, because south is gonna be much better in terms of, and even in terms of, I think my brother lives in Hyderabad, so I'm like, okay, if he's already there, I can also move there, and that will be very easy for us to meet them and visit them. So that was the reason we chose Hyderabad. Second thing, Bangalore was not an option. We are like, okay, I have been to Bangalore, and my husband before moving to US was in Bangalore, so we're like, no, Bangalore is not gonna be the option. Although the opportunities will be there, but we were like, no. And third place was Pune. We were thinking to move Pune also, because I studied there. I also liked Pune, and but the only thing is that there are not a lot of startups there. The IT the IT companies are not that much there. So we're like, okay, Hyderabad is kind of place. And as I said, we have not finished 1 year, so I don't know how it's gonna be after, like, mid Fab or something, because people said it's gonna be a little hot. So we'll see how it goes. But so far it's been very good. No issues. Trust me, no issues at all.
That's great. So I know I think this is something that you kind of touched about it, but I just want to kind of expand a little bit. I think you took an internal transfer from your company to to do a role here in India, and in your spouse case, I think your husband resigned, and then he after moving back to India, he applied for jobs. Has he tried to apply from there? Just wondering, curious, how did it go, or what are some
He
obstacles?
No, he didn't try. I guess he was there working till very last day, 23rd May, I would say. And there was layoff going on in his company, and I was like, okay, I wish Ankur you got laid off. because he would get severance package and all. But and he was also like, I wish I can tell people that, okay, if you're laying off, lay off me, because I am anyway have to go to India. So not many people even thinking that they were like, okay, uncle, you are kidding, because he has not resigned and he has not applied to jobs and all. But no, he thought that once he will come back, he will, because he had good connections, he would be able to secure a job here and all. And yes, he got it also very soon. So not an issue for him. I think that's what it is, because when you are working for very good amount of years in US and with a good background, then you are able to secure a job in India these days.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so that's great. So let's talk about, I think, on the kids part. I think you kind of indicated about the school. So if you are open again, which curriculum have you selected and how did you decide about it? How did you narrow down the school selection, and maybe talk a little bit about the admission process? So that would be helpful.
Yeah, so yeah, that was a good point. So my daughter was in a private school there, so she was not even in IB board. The school there was, I think it was kind of IB board, but not exactly. I think the public school uses the IB board there. So she was in private school, so it was good. I won't say that it was not that good, but actually the problem with me was the culture. I'm not liking the culture. So when we decided we have to move to India, we thought that not to go with the CBSE curriculum. So the school right now, she is in Cambridge curriculum, which is very good because it's not too like it not have a lot of homework and all. It's the similar like what she had in US. Every day she gets homework except Fridays. And even the study wise, I feel it's really good because it's very interactive. The teachers are not very homework based, they are more into practical based learning. So yeah, it's been going good. She's really learning and happy. And there's a lot of extracurricular activities. Every day there's some debate or some painting or some other competitions and all. So she's really getting good, improvement in her self-esteem, in her social gatherings and social interaction is also has improved a lot.
That's fantastic. So I think you kind of mentioned, like, so you went with the Cambridge curriculum, but how did you narrow down the schools, like which schools like you have, considered, approached, and how did you select it or down selected to one? I mean, if you may talk to the process.
So
Yeah.
we didn't do too much of research. Actually, we just decided to live a place where we thought, where we should be living, and then we found out which are the schools nearby.
Okay.
So once we decided, okay, this is the school nearby, this is the school nearby, and then we based on their availability, if they have the opening for second grade and those things, and based on that, whoever replied fast to us, like I think we reached out to like 15, 16 schools and all. And out of that we narrowed down to five, and then five of them, I think three of them replied, and then we didn't she just interviewed, like she had an also interview there with the teacher, and they asked few questions and I mean she clarified them, and they also cleared her, okay, yeah, she's good to be in second grade. So that's how. Not too much of research on that side, yeah.
So thanks a lot for the details about the school and how did you go about selecting the school for your daughter. So now let's switch the gears a little bit. So you've been living in US for almost a decade, and you moved to a new place, like where you have never been to, Hyderabad. How was the transition like? It's been 6 months. How was the family adjusting to the new life? Any insights that you can share on that?
Yes. So actually, it's been going very well because back in US, the celebrations, like the festivals were there, and since I was in Bay Area, there's a lot of celebrations, lot of events were going on. But I think the best part about here in India is that the family,
Yeah.
and I can celebrate. And I think the other part is that, like in India, people celebrate all together. Like in Hyderabad, for Navratri and the Shara, they had whole 10 days of break. So
Yeah.
all the kids, even they are in different curriculum like CBSE or ICSE, they all have holidays, so they have to celebrate it. And in the community itself, there was like whole Ganesh Chaturthi, there's all pandal, the way we grew up. So we wanted her to, have the same kind of cultural immersion, that happens in India to see. And that part is going really actually very well. And she's also, that's the reason she's loving India. And other thing is, I think that since we were in California, the weather was not that too bad.
Yeah,
But I know other parts they're not even to able to see sun for like 4 months and 6 months, right? So for that, and sometimes even it's very hot also, or very snow is falling and all those things. But here, like, I think, it's gonna be a little bit hot sometimes, but other than that, I think it's all good. The weather is always fine to go out, and at least if it is all within the community, you can go downstairs and have, good gathering and interaction.
got it. So let's talk a little bit about, meeting your family, right? I'm assuming the family is still in Delhi NCR region. Like, how often do you meet them? Just curious because, it's a bit far away. So just wondering about that.
Yeah. No, as I said, my brother is already here, so we meet quite often, like, Diwali, the Shara, all. And then my father-in-law, so he was living alone there, although my husband's brother was there, but, they were living in the same community. But once my mother-in-law passed away, he was living alone. So we told him to move with us. So now he's living with us. So it's a really, fun time for us. Even my
Yeah,
daughter is so happy to be with the, grandparents. So yeah, I think that all things is possible only when you are in India, and But I would like to mention one thing, Avinash. Here, they're
yeah,
my friends who are, who also feel like, the Indian culture is very much better than US and all those things. But the part is that their all siblings are already in US, and they have green cards, so their parents comes there for 6 months, and they have all the friends and everything, and family is already there. So for them, moving back to India is not an option, right? For us, because our family is here and my siblings are here, it makes sense for us to move.
yeah, makes sense for sure. So, is there anything that you miss in US? Since you've been living here for 6 months, anything that you don't like in India or anything that you miss from US? Just curious on that.
Yeah, there's a lot of small things sometimes. I mean, we do avoid a lot of crowd because we know, like, we recently went to a temple and it was so crowded, and I'm like, okay, this is how India is. Then second part, the thing is like the pollution. Obviously, we feel like, yeah, the obviously it's south is little better, but still pollution is there. So that part, and third part, I would say the cleanliness. Yeah, I do miss in US cleanliness. It was really quite clean in US, but I think it's a lot of, years will take place. And there's a lot of other things which is really good, like, this Blinket and all these Swiggy and all apps, which is very easy in here. And yeah, I think in terms of missing, yeah, I would say those three things which I miss.
Got it. Is there any topic that we haven't covered that you would like to bring up and, where we want to discuss further?
Yeah, so I would like to say to everybody that, you should definitely go outside of India to see, to explore, to, see the world, to see. Even in my career, if I will see, I worked in top companies there. I could get the opportunity to work in those companies just because I was there. So I would say everybody to, yeah, you should definitely go. But if you feel like, that there is some mismatch, there is some gap in your future goals and aspiration, then you should reconsider to move back as well, because India is growing. India is a totally different country within 10 years. When I left and when I moved back, it's totally different in terms of technology, in terms of, like handling of the situation. Like, everything is online these days, not like that you have to be, go to the offices and all. And I think in terms of, I would say, the education also, like Indian education is, I would say, is really good in terms of a whole curriculum. Now you have to choose what you want. It's not like that in, when we were kids, that we had to have it CBSE only, or what else we are, maybe the state board. But these days everything is open. It's all up to you how you select, how you even people say that their relatives, we don't want to be with the relatives and all. But I think it's all, how you set the boundaries. So it's all, everything accessible, everything is up to you how you decide and how to live.
Got it. Any advice for the future aspirants who are thinking about moving to India? Any words of advice from you?
Yeah, I would say that, if you want to move back, definitely give it a try. I mean, at least never, feel like, oh, I would have a chance, but I never tried it. You should not have regrets in your later life. So I think this is I would definitely say, at least try. Maybe if you don't like it, you can move back as well. But at least try for 2 months or 6 months or even an year, and then decide.
Yeah, for sure. Having a regret in the life is not something worth it. And if you have an opportunity, just definitely try it out. Yeah, completely agree. So, yeah, thanks a lot, Miss Pratibha, for taking the time for sharing your journey with us and telling, what went into your mind in making the decision and how the life has been so far. So, good luck with everything. And thanks again for taking the time and sharing your journey with us today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Avinash, for having me.
That's great.
Yeah.